What's up YouTube, this is Eric from Team Dead End here, and I'm going to be giving you my deck profile from what I used during the Team League, which is, well, Daikaiser, and going at a bit of a different angle in this video, trying to see what works, and well, for the starter, I use Goyusha. You all probably know what he does. When he's on the rear guard, put 4 Dimensional Robos into your soul, Superior Ride, 1 grade 3. He works for misriding, you know, yada yada. If you want a Superior Ride early, do whatever. Next off, for the trigger lineup, I use 8 critical triggers. And 6 draws. 4 heals. A lot of people like to go 8 crit 4 draw 4 heal, but personally I prefer this lineup because it lets you draw into your cards, I guess. Like, if you get a grade 3, it makes certain that your perfect guards aren't useless, and if you draw into another trigger or more cards, it's just more guard that you can have. It's the less offensive choice, but in my opinion it's the better one, because the deck is offensive enough on its own that you're not going to necessarily need all that extra critical. Seeing as how a grade 3 basically comes down to a critical trigger that can kill a perfect guard. Yeah. And some people would question, why do I use Justice Rose instead of Die Rescue? Well, simply put, because Justice Rose is prettier. That is actually my only reason. It's not necessarily the best one, but hey, it's what works. They both do the same thing. As for grade 1s, I use 4 Die Fighter, or Die Brave. Die Brave is really good, and I'll get to why in a second. 4 Die Tiger. You need Die Tigers. They're really important. And 4 perfect guards. Now I am using Diamond Ace instead of Die Shield because I don't have Die Shields. Yeah. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna get Die Shields. They're pretty important. And, as for the grade 1s, Die Brave, in case you don't know what he does, he's Counterblast, or put him into the soul. Or from the soul, Soul Blast him. Like, put him in the drop zone. Your Vanguard gets the ability, Counterblast 1 when the unit's attack hits a Vanguard. You may draw a card. He's really important because he helps replenish your hand. But my only problem with him is, in case you have to ride Great Daiyusha, which I do use in this deck, you're not gonna get his effect. So he's not bad by any stretch of the word to ride or use his effect. In fact, he's really good, especially in case you have to use Goyusha's skill. He just helps you replenish like that much easier. Die Tiger. Attackers are important in this deck because it has very weak rearguard support. So, yeah, that's that. Perfect guards are perfect guards. If you don't use 4, you're probably going to lose, but hey man, this is the deck that kills perfect guards, so who am I to question people's guarding? As for grade 2s, I use 4 Kaizard. He's really good. In case you don't know what he does, when a D-Police unit rides over him, your Vanguard gets plus 5k. That's just really good. That applies a lot of pressure. And he's a 9k vanilla on rear guard. Not that that really matters, since most rear guards are 9k anyway. Then I use 4 Die Dragon. 12k attacker, really pretty. Love Die Dragon. And then 3 Die Fighter, 10k vanilla. Doesn't do anything. Use a 10k vanilla. People would probably question my grade 2 lineup, like why don't I use Die Beret, but simply put, I don't like him. I don't like his effect because chances are you're never going to get it off and you're really only minusing yourself. It's a personal opinion, but that's just, I like this the way it is. Yeah. Because I feel like the 10k vanilla just serves its purpose well. It's good to ride into. It's a good rear guard. Yeah. All that kind of good stuff. As for grade 3s, I run 2 Super Daisha. In case you don't know what he does. 10k Vanguard. At the start of the battle, if his attack is 1400 or greater, he gets +1 critical till the end of turn, or till the end of the battle. His ability does not factor in boosting, so him with, say, Kaizard is good. Like, have Kaizard ride him. And there have been instances where I would have Daikaiser in hand and have also Daisha in hand. Since I'm only at 3 damage, I would just wait a bit, you know, like since I'm only like 2 or 3, because people like to bait this deck at 3 damage or lower, and then just try and take them out, because this deck really does fall short to baiting. Not necessarily. But yeah, I would ride over the Kaizard, so his effect goes off, because he'd be at 15k instead of just 10, so he'd be swinging for critical, but he also works with the break ride, you know, so he's just a decent grade 3 to use, like as backup support. And then also I use 4 Great Daisha. Great Daisha is really cool. In case you don't know what he does, if you have, I think it's 3 or more. Yeah, if you have 3 or more dimensional robos in your soul, he gets +2k +1 crit. That's his limit break ability. That's only on your turn, so he'd be swinging for 13k +1 critical. And he has cross ride effects, so he gets +2k. So if you ride him, you'll have a grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3 in soul, so that's your conditions for his limit break effect. And he's really good for the deck because he applies after break ride pressure in case you don't win that turn. Yeah, he's just a solid card. But of course, with Die Brave's effect, his effect could become, canceled out unless you say, ride Daisha. Like break ride Daisha, then cross ride for Great Daisha. It's just, the deck seems to work itself out. And last but not least, the ace of the deck, the most important card, Daikaiser. Now, in case you don't know what he does, he has limit break 4. He is a break ride. When a D-Robo, or when a D-Police rides over him, it gets you counterblast 1. It gets, until the end of turn, the effect, when this unit's drive check reveals a grade 3. Is it grade 3 or grade 3 or greater? When its drive check reveals a grade 3, retire one of your opponent's units in the Guardian Circle, and any effects with cannot be hit are negated. So, essentially what that means is it, kills perfect guards. And that is really good, because if you break ride that with that, you're swinging for 3 damage. And if you break ride that with that, you're swinging for 3 damage. So, either your opponent's going to be taking 3 to the face, or if you break ride that with that, you're swinging for 2 damage, and then 3 damage, or another 2 damage. And your opponent is going to be wetting themselves. But, all in all, he is a fantastic break ride. Probably my favorite one. Super cool looking. Let's try and get a good view of him. And yeah, a lot of people would wonder why, like a lot of D-Police fans would question why I don't use Commander Laurel. Simply put, I hate Commander Laurel. That card has no place in this deck, because if your opponent survives after you hit with, any of these cards, they're, like, Commander Laurel, don't get me wrong, he's good, but if you ride him, you're probably gonna lose. If you are stuck boosting with him, you're probably gonna lose. He does not provide much support outside of that one attack hitting, but chances are your opponent is going to overguard anyway. And not to mention, if you have to ride him, Daikaiser doesn't get his effect, so that really sucks. You can't use him with Goyusha in case you have to use his effect. I just do not find much utility in that card in this deck. Like I said before, this is the deck that I took to the Team League Regional. We made it to round 4 or 5, I forget. This deck did some pretty funny things. I played the mirror match 3 times. That really sucked. But, it is what it is. I beat 2 out of the 3. One game, my opponent perfect guarded, and threw 20k worth of guard. And, there wasn't much that I could do to get around that, because I would have needed to drive check 2 grade 3s, and my opponent knew that, I was using 10, because I said, before that I was using 10, I think. Whether I did or didn't doesn't really make a difference, but he knew that I had exposed a lot of my grade 3s through previous drive checks, damage checks, and just riding, and perfect guarding with them. So I only had 2 left in my deck. First check was Great Daikaiser. Second check, also Great Daikaiser. And I hit him for 3 and 1. We were both actually stunned. Neither of us saw that coming. And that's the most fun thing about this deck. You never know what's really coming. It keeps the game lively, because you are so dependent on that drive check that it's just, your grade 3s are your lifeline. And I should probably tell how many of each unit I use. I think that's probably important. 17 grade 1s, standard. Or not 17, geez. 17 grade 0s, standard. 12 grade 1s, 11 grade 2s, and 10 grade 3s. With the grade 1s, misriding happens, which is why it's pretty imperative that if you keep cards that you need to ride, like in your opening hand, if you get a grade 3, a grade 2, and a bunch of grade 0s or more 2s or 3s, you shuffle back everything except for riding units to try and get your grade 1. And I'm usually stuck riding a perfect guard, because 1 out of the 3 cards that you're going to be riding is a perfect guard, so like 33% of the time, you're going to be riding that perfect guard. Which is why I really want die shields, so he doesn't deter Diuse's effect. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't usually get stuck at grade 0, but it does happen from time to time. Grade 2s, I did not want to take away from the rear guard power in the deck. Also, riding grade 2 is very important. So, like, that's that. 12's fine for grade 1s. 11's fine for grade 2s. 10 for grade 3s is the perfect number. I love it. Because when you use 6 draw, 6 crit, 4 heal, you're drive checking your grade 3s just enough to get Daikaiser's effect off. And because of your draw triggers, you are drawing enough cards, such as perfect guards, to be able to utilize your grade 3s so they are not dead cards. And that is really, really, really important. Especially when you don't have cards to guard with because you use so many grade 3s. But that's that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is really fun, and if anybody's considering building it, I would highly recommend it. Yep. Comment, like, subscribe, old song and dance. See you guys next time.